Hey guys, it's me, Erica, and welcome back to my channel, and let's go ahead and talk about some plants. Basically, as the title says, I would like to show you my plant tour, or collection rather. I'm not really gonna do a tour because my room's a mess. Everywhere my plants are is a mess. So instead, I decided to be extra and take pictures and videos of my plants like it was picture day at school. Should I go in order? I feel like I should go in order. Okay, so my first two plants that I'm going to talk about are my spider plants, airplane plants, whatever you want to call them. So the big one is technically my first one. I got it on a field trip in 4th grade and was determined to keep it alive. And so then eventually it popped out a child, and I rooted said child, and ever since then it has not given me a single baby. The big one has not given me a baby. This one has been happily in this pot for like years. Maybe that's why it won't give me a baby. But none of them will give me children. The big one is Leonardo, and this is Leonardo Jr. I used to like to name all of my plants with names that ended in O. And now, honestly, I can't remember any of them except for Leonardo Jr., and then Eduardo, and Eduardo Jr. Eduardo is a giant plant that is technically my mother's, and he is a philodendron selloum. My mom calls them an elephant ear, but he isn't. So if you hear me say elephant ear, I probably mean philodendron selloum. He is a giant plant downstairs and is like 30 to 40 years old and is huge and takes up a 6 by 6 foot corner in our room. Like, he is massive. I named him Eduardo, and then I guess we'll just hop over to that one. And then I wanted my own little elephant ear, or to take that plant with me wherever I went and when I moved, but honestly now I don't think that's probably possible with how far I'd like to move. So I figured the best way would be try to take a cutting of it and root it, and I could never find the proper node to properly root it until like March of this year. It's currently June. So I took a node and I rooted it, and it was very, very scary, and since then it has popped out a couple new leaves. This one I think is new, and it's growing a new leaf right there. This one looks like it might be trying to pop one out, and so this is Eduardo Jr. So the next plant I ever got was in ceramics class, senior year of high school. We did a ceramics project where we made planters, and they looked like our faces. It was a really fun project, and the science department had been doing some cuttings for its gardening club or for like Science Honor Society or something. Basically, they had like a crap ton of rooted cuttings, like too many to deal with. So they basically told all the people in ceramics, hey, if you want a plant to put in that new planter you just made, come on up. So I grabbed a marble queen pothos, and when I got this, it was just one leaf, which is now gone and dead. But it was one leaf, and I could not get it to grow for the absolute life of me. I took it to college with me and kept it in a north-facing window. When it was home here in Maryland, I kept it in a north-facing window. Did not want to grow ever. And then I moved to an apartment in Savannah and put it on the fireplace. So it was about like 5-10 feet away from a south-facing window. And finally it started to grow and grow and grow. And now it's super long, and I refuse. I should like take cuttings and put more in the pot, but I kind of like how like it's just doing its own thing. He's just curling. And then this is the biggest leaf since. And now back home it is in Maryland in a very dim east-facing window. I get a lot of morning light because the sun rises literally directly into my window. I have nothing blocking the sunrise. He's a new leaf, little poppin', and he has a little stick in him, so I can tell how wet his soil is, because he doesn't have a hole in this pot because I'm a bad plant parent and put it in a pot without any hole, and I have no other pots, and so I just use a stick to make sure I'm not overwatering it. Basically, if the stick is damp or has soil on it, it goes all the way down to the bottom. If it comes out and there's still soil sticking to it, I do not water it. So the next plant I purchased was this money tree. It literally lives right next to my TV, and it is the most lopsided money tree ever. And I'm well aware he's lopsided, and I will not do anything to fix how lopsided he is. I could easily fix this by turning him, but I refuse to because he lives next to my TV, and so honestly, not having leaves blocking the TV but having a plant right next to it, honestly, I really enjoy. So it's just going to be lopsided, and I do continue to braid it as best I can as it gets bigger. And I like putting like little butterflies on my plants if possible. It's just on like little ties, zip tie and stuff like that. He's never had problems. He's always grown, no matter how dark it is. What was my next plant? I got a fiddle leaf fig, which I did not take pictures of because it looks very sad right now. My mom works at a place that has a giant fiddle leaf fig, and it always gets too big, so they always trim it and then give away the cuttings. And so I got a couple cuttings, and I honestly think it's in too big of a pot right now and is mad at me and unhappy because it's like lost all of its leaves but two, which I think is completely normal for all fiddle leaf fig owners to go through. My next plant was a philodendron Brazil, but I got him in Savannah, Georgia, and his leaves vary in size depending on, when he was in Savannah they were kind of big, and then I moved him home and they got small, but now they're getting bigger again even though I haven't really moved him. I have literally like taken so many cuttings of him. I have two hanging kind of around my TV rooting that I should probably put in roots in pots, but I'm saving that because I want to do a little experiment. I am very interested in like the metaphysical and stuff, and they always say crystals help your plants grow, so I was going to do an actual like experiment, a tiny one obviously, to see if crystals actually did help your plants grow faster. So like and subscribe and comment down below if that's something that you'd want to see and are interested in seeing. And yeah, this is a little tiny bubbly leaf. So this is another cutting from the philodendron Brazil that I can actually show you, and this is like a bunch of cuttings. None of these have variegation on them really, so I don't think this guy will have a lot of variegation on him, but I finally put him in, like rooted him and put him in a pot, and it's been like a month maybe 2 or 3, and it's finally just now starting to grow its vines again. So I think it was very focused on roots, and it's putting out little tiny baby leaves. And this one lives in a south facing window about 2 or 3 feet away, and it has a curtain that is, I would say, maybe like 60% opaque. And the reason I wanted to do that crystal experiment was because I swore he wasn't growing at all, and then I put this quartz crystal in, like super tiny, and then the next day like he popped off and was like growing a bunch of new leaves. And I genuinely probably think that was either placebo or me just not looking very hard, but also the part of me is like, but what if it was the crystals? Again, like, comment, and subscribe if that's something you're interested in seeing. The next plant that I got, which is actually probably before the philodendrons, is my angel wing begonia, and this is what started an obsession. It's named Edna after my great-grandmother. She had a very large, like it was basically a big giant tree bush thing in her yard. And when she passed away, my grandpa took lots of cuttings, and so each of the grandchildren got a cutting from her garden, and it is an angel wing begonia. And I swear to God, it grows better when it has a picture of her next to it. It was like pale and not doing well, and then I put a picture of her next to it and it started thriving and growing like crazy. People like to debate whether begonias like sun or not, but basically if my begonia is getting really pale, I take it away from the window. I put it in a shadier place. They're like semi-shade plants, so I think it really depends. The backs of the leaves are greener, and I know like supposedly if they're red they're getting enough sunlight, and if they're green they're not getting enough sunlight. But every time I put it even closer to a window that has even like a hair closer to a window with brighter light, it just gets so unhappy with me and like pale and gross. So it lives where it lives. What was the next one? I bought an aloe plant in Savannah, which was downstairs. It lives downstairs in the sunroom because it is the only place that it will be happy. And that one was sickly. It lived in my dorm room and was sickly, which was a very, very dim north-facing window. And then my mom took it in when I moved because I was like, Mom, I don't know what to do. And I'm not a succulent person either. Like, I know nothing about succulents. So I was like, Mom, please help me. And then she took it, and now its leaves are really thick and juicy and amazing. So it lives downstairs, and I refuse to move it. I don't know, like at this point, we're just talking about plants, and I don't know what order they go in. I think I hesitated off buying plants at that point because, I don't know, I was happy. And then my best friend's sister became a plant addict, and I am very easily influenced. So because I was already interested in plants and she became a plant addict, I became a plant addict. So I decided I wanted a begonia collection because tropical plants are expensive and I do not have enough light or humidity for them. So begonias, they like low to medium light. They do like to be moist and have humidity, but it's like a more doable things. So then I got this baby. This is my favorite plant. It is absolutely beautiful. I also have an obsession with neon green currently, but I love this. This is the begonia jive, and I have like Googled Rex begonia jive, and this is very obviously it, whereas sometimes you Google begonia variegations and there's like 10 different examples that are like all different, but they're all under the, it's weird. This one is actually a Rex begonia jive. I love it. It makes my heart melt. I'm so happy with it. It grows like crazy. It's in a south-facing window. The leaves have multiplied in size, like exponentially. And I do turn this one because otherwise it gets very lopsided and one-sided. So this is my beauty, my pride and joy. I love her. Then I also got a couple other begonias. I got a begonia fannie moser, and it's the one with like the dark leaves, and all of its leaves are falling off. I think I had it in a bit too dark of a corner for it to be happy, so I moved it to where the angel wing begonia is, and we'll see how it goes. My cane begonias, I don't know how to keep them like full. Like they just all become like twigs and sticks for me, so I'm just probably gonna have to like keep cutting them and repropagating and then putting them in new soil, because that's what I've been doing with the angel wing. Is every time it gets too tall, I just cut it, root it, put it in new soil, and that's why it's so leggy and oddly shaped. So probably will happen with the fannie moser too. And then my unidentified one, it's like when the leaves are matured, they're like a really iridescent red. Fingers crossed with that one. Follow me on Instagram if you want updates on those two plants and their condition and how they're doing and how I'm healing them. So we're almost done. We have 2 plants left. Then I got this one. I impulsively bought this one at Home Depot with my sister. I thought it was a caladium. It's not. It's an arrowhead syngonium, which apparently is 10 times easier to take care of, and honestly I love how light the green is and the shape of it, and so I'm happy. It just lives by my money tree, which is like kind of far from the window. And then my last plant, I've been hearing things that like this is a rare begonia. I'm not sure how difficult it is to find or how rare it actually is, and I'm like, part of me is like, it's probably not rare at all, because I got it off Facebook Marketplace and they didn't call it rare, but they called it hard to find. So it is begonia beefsteak. This guy, which I saw him on Facebook Marketplace and I was like, I don't know, I don't really like him. But the more I looked at it, the more I was like, you know, he's growing on me. And if he's hard to find and I want to start a begonia collection, $15 is probably a good price for this. I don't know. Part of me feels like I did overpay for it, but also I have no clue because, again, I'm pretty new to the begonia collecting scene. So he looks like a giant lily pad, makes me happy. And I literally just got him a couple days ago. So we shall see how he adjusts. I moved him to the south-facing window because these have the... It has the same sort of leaves as the jive, where they're like a little bit thicker and you can tell that there's more moisture in them. So I feel like those are the ones that need moist soil and more light. These 2 are the begonias I keep in the south-facing window, and these are also the only 2 that I bottom water. I bottom water the other plants when I have time or a chance to, but these 2 I refuse to top water because if you get too much water on their leaves, it can burn them with the south-facing window or destroy them. So it's just safer to bottom water them anyway. So there you go. That's my plant collection as of July 2021. And yeah, I kind of made this as like a personal diary so I can go back and look at how it's changed and grown over the years and the months. Follow me on Instagram for more plant updates. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I hope you guys have a lovely, lovely day because you 100% deserve it.